Okay, we're good. Um, so could you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and basically what brought you to this career?
Okay, so my name is Lauren Chia. I live in London and I'm currently playing Janet Weiss in the Rocky Horror Show on the UK tour. I've been performing ever since I can remember, really. Just from a very, very young age. My parents are like, oh, we need to send us to some performing arts school. And then it wasn't until I was about 11 where I first watched my first West End show. It was We Will Rock You, and it was at the Dominion Theatre. And I remember thinking, oh, so you can actually do this as a career. Like, I always saw it as a hobby, but I never really considered it as something I would eventually do. And so just started really working hard on my singing, my dancing, and my acting. Did my A levels, and then I auditioned for drama school, and I got accepted to GSA, Guildford School of Acting. And I spent 3 years there. I did a 3 year musical theatre degree, and luckily graduated with an agent. And he's been sending me on auditions ever since. So, and here we are.
That's great. So the Rocky Horror Show, it's a bit different from everything else that you've done. How have you prepared yourself, or how have you dove into that job?
I mean, I don't think I was prepared for anything that was to come with Rocky Horror. It's a show like no other. It's so much fun. And I love that there's a lot of variety in a lot of the shows I've performed in. And I think because I've started out in ensemble, I've been a swing before. I don't know if you know what a swing is, where you cover multiple tracks in a show. And I've been understudy to the leading role before. But this is my first proper leading lady part in a show. So this was a huge achievement for me. And I think just having the experience of those shows previous, working in the theatre, getting to meet different people, work with different creatives, different directors, it really did set me up for this job. So then now I finally got to play Janet. I feel completely prepared for it. But I'd never seen the show before. I'd always wanted to go. I'd always thought, oh, one day I'm going to go with my friends. I'm going to get dressed up and I'm going to go watch it because I've heard it's so much fun and it's obviously such a cult thing. Um, but never really got round to it. And then when I got the audition through, I watched the film, loved it obviously, and yeah, and I've still yet to see. I've not seen it from an audience perspective. So one day I would like to come back and watch the show.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I still haven't seen it. I've heard a lot about it. It's like Fiddler on the Roof for Greece. It's one of those shows that everyone seems to be talking about, but I haven't gotten around to see it yet.
Yeah, I mean it's so much fun. It's a show like no other. It's kind of like I would describe it as an adult panto in a way. So the audience are very much a part of the show. There's a lot of audience participation, which you don't need to join in. We've got the super diehard fans that are there every night and they know all the lines. Um, but it's just such a good night out. It's just really fun.
And how do you handle taking over such an iconic role? Because there's a lot of expectations around it. So how do you make it
Yeah,
your own?
I mean, obviously I'd seen the film and there's Susan Sarandon that played Janet and she was just so iconic. But I tried not to watch any other previous productions online or anything. I know there's lots of like clips of people doing it all over the world. Um, and I think I was lucky that I hadn't even seen the show. So I was reading the script with really, really fresh eyes. Um, and our amazing director, Christopher Luscombe, was amazing. He just got us to bring our own interpretation to the role. And I mean, he seemed to like what I was doing, so I'm just trusting that I'm doing an okay job.
Um, what's been your biggest challenge so far playing Janet?
I think it's the stamina of the show of doing 8 shows a week. Um, as I mentioned, I've been a swing before, so an offstage swing. So I would be on the lot sometimes, and sometimes I have a lot of time offstage in the dressing room. Whereas to play a lead for this amount of time on the tour, it can be really, really tiring. But the moment I step out on stage and the audience are so amazing, they're so with us, they're just ready for a good night out, you just kind of forget all of those things and, the adrenaline kicks in. Um, but yeah, I would say it's more the stamina and pacing myself throughout the week. And also, Janet doesn't leave the stage. I'm on for Act One. I have like 2 seconds to run off, have a quick sip of water, and then straight back on again. And Act Two, if I'm off stage, I'm having a quick change normally. So the show does it kind of does go quickly because I'm on the whole time, but it's also quite exhausting. But yeah,
I guess there must be something reassuring about knowing which track you're playing, which is different from being a swing, and like
yes,
knowing that you're on for this role all the time and you don't have extra lines to learn or extra blocking or extra choreography.
yeah, I did actually say this to my friend the other day. I said the thing I have enjoyed the most is just knowing that I get to go to work and do the same thing every day, and I know exactly what I'm doing. And yeah, I'm not waiting for a call from my company manager saying you're on for this part tonight. There's no stress. So that has been really nice and refreshing for once.
Yeah, I do feel that ensemble training and swing training is like no other. Like your brain is hardwired to just learn so much and on the
Yeah.
spot that once you get to where you are right now, it's difficult, but at the same time it's still you're trained, you're ready for it, which is great.
Yeah, and I love
Um
that I've had that experience as well, leading up to this as well. It's nice to have done everything really.
yeah, I can imagine. Is there anything that you do personally to prepare yourself for the role, whether it's like I don't know, a tea before a show or like meditation or that kind of thing?
Um, I mean, I normally eat a lot of food. That's the one thing I have to do, because I need all the energy I can get with this show. Like I say, I don't leave the stage hardly. So yeah, just eat as much as I can about an hour before warm up, and we have a physical and a vocal warm up as a company. So it's a really nice opportunity for all of us to get together, kind of connect, um, and it just sets us up for the show. And then I head to my dressing room and I start doing my makeup and getting my wig prep done. And normally I just like listen to some music just to chill out a little bit. Um, and to be honest, as soon as I start putting the makeup on, that feels therapeutic in itself, and I just suddenly start becoming the character. The moment I've got the wig on and the little headband and all the jewelry, and then I'm just ready to go.
Yeah, and it's great because it doesn't happen all at once. You have the time to just dive quickly into the character whilst getting ready.
Yeah, it's a process, definitely.
Yeah. Do you have like a favorite moment in the show every night where you're like, I'm so excited for that part? Or does that change?
Um, I think it changes. Um, but there is one moment I really, really love. It's called Eddie's Teddy. It's in Act Two. And I think maybe for me, because where I am on stage a lot, I don't get a lot of backstage moments with any of the cast, just to sort of be together. So in Eddie's Teddy, we're all together as a cast. Every single person in the show is in that number. And I think there's something really special in that, just having us all there. Apart from the finale where we're all together, it's like a good moment for me just to see everyone because I haven't seen everyone since I started the show.
What do you think about Janice? Do you find her to be like a heroine or like a cautionary tale? What's your take on the character?
Yeah, I definitely see her as a heroine. I mean, she has such a huge transformation. She starts as such an innocent, naive young girl, very prim and proper. Um, and I would imagine she'd have quite a lot of judgmental opinions about people at that point in the show. And then as soon as she enters the castle and is opened up into Frank's world, her eyes are really opened, and she grows in confidence. She has a sexual awakening, um, and she's surrounded by very different people who she would not normally be. associated with. So, and I think she leaves the show as a completely different person with different opinions, and maybe is a little bit more open to having people around you who are slightly different. And I think that's why this show resonates so true to so much of our audiences, because there's a place for everyone. You're free to be whoever you want to be, and our show's motto is "Don't dream it, be it." Um, and yeah, I think that's why it's so popular. Everyone can just come for the night and be whoever they want to be. So that's really special.
That's great. You talked about like a flip or a switch happening in Janet. Is there something that you do personally, that something that happens in your head being like, I have to go from being a naive girl to being a woman?
For me, it's probably "Touch Me," the song I sing in Act Two. Um, it's hard to get the balance. So up until this point, she's been very innocent, um, and then she meets Rocky, who she immediately is very attracted to, um, and then she just loses her inhibitions, and she's just like becomes a woman almost right before your eyes. So yeah, I kind of start the song still very innocent, very girly, and then just gradually transform throughout the song. Um, and that's where you see her get her more sexiness and her confidence.
That's great. I really want to see the show now. Um, on tour, things get a little bit difficult for you just because on top of having to do 8 shows a week, you have to travel and like change your routine somehow. Is there anything that you do to ground yourself to make the transitions smoother for yourself?
um, it's taken me a while to really get into like routines and things. I've never toured before. This is my first tour, um, and it's weekly touring, which is really tough. It's really, really tiring. But one thing I have kind of started doing in any place that I can is doing a reformer Pilates class.
Okay.
I'll look up in whatever town or whatever city we're in, and I'll try and find something that I can go to once a week. Um, and that's something for me. And it's even though the show is so physical, it's quite nice to do a little bit of exercise that's just for me and not for anything else. It's just for my enjoyment. And I think it's an hour out of my day where I can just focus on that. Any worries that I have before going into class, I kind of forget about them because I'm focusing on what I'm doing in the class. So that's quite um, like meditative for me, I guess.
Yeah, I can imagine. And it's relaxing to get to do something outside of the show and
Yeah.
just doing something for your own mindfulness.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's easy to lose yourself a little bit in the work that you do in all areas and any career. But I think it is always important to have something like a hobby or something that you love doing on the side.
Yeah, I can imagine. Have you had like a favorite venue so far? Or is there
I've had
one that you're
loads
particularly
actually.
for?
I was listing these off the other day. There's been so many that I've loved. I loved York, Bath, Oxford, Shrewsbury. We've just recently been in Manchester for 2 weeks, and we were in Leeds last week. So yeah, there's been loads of places that I've never visited, and Edinburgh. I'd never been to Edinburgh before, and I had the best week. Um, so yeah, it's been such a good opportunity for me to actually see parts of the country.
Yeah.
But the Dominion was obviously like the most special venue for all of us, really, because it was the West End. But for me specifically, because it was the first West End show I ever saw, was at the Dominion, and my mum and dad had taken me to see it. So then when they came to watch me at the Dominion on the gala night, that was just such a special moment for me, and just felt really full circle.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask about that. Um, yeah, I can imagine it's been a fun journey and like completely out of this world.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very special show for me. It obviously is a job, but I just feel really lucky to get to do something that I love doing every day.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. I was gonna ask, that's is a very basic question, but do you have like a favorite musical now?
My favorite music of all time is West Side Story. I think it's just so beautiful. The music, the choreography, the story. And I'd love to one day be in that show. But something that's on currently, I went to see Hades Town recently and I loved it. It was so, so good. The music was amazing. And I mean, I love Wicked. Who doesn't love Wicked? Um, and yeah, loved the film as well. I'm really excited for the second one to come out.
Yeah. Have you seen the trailer?
Yes, yeah, it looks really good. Yeah.
So would you say Maria or Anita are one of your like dream roles
Uh,
after this?
well, I actually have already played Maria in a concert version of West Side Story in Denmark, um, and that was incredible. But it was just the one night concert kind of thing. So yeah, Maria would be the one that I'd love to do again.
Yeah, such a good part. And it's not been done
Mm.
in the West End for a long time, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I still
it
remember.
sometimes comes back and it does regional theatres, but we haven't had it in the West End for a while. So yeah, that would be nice.
No, I feel like it's one of those shows that deserves a permanent place in the West End. Like
Yes,
it'd be
yeah.
nice if we had like a couple of theaters just for those kinds of revivals, like West Side Story. I
Yeah.
love Billy Elliot.
Yes, Billy Elliot. Yeah.
Billy Elliot. It's such a British show and it hasn't been on in a very, very long time.
Yeah. 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 One day, hopefully.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm good on my side. Is there anything that you wanted to add about the character or about your experience on the show?
No, just come watch it. You won't regret it. Bring your friends, get dressed up, can have a drink if you want to, and yeah, it's just an amazing night with amazing music. Like our band are incredible. They're like a proper rock and roll band. And the cast are just incredible. So yeah, just come watch. You won't regret it.